Hello, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
You're my favorite girl. You make my single. Come on. Yes, you're my
Lovely hair. Very nice.
Thank you. I'm graying a little bit.
So
So
am I. We're growing very differently though, but both beautiful in its own ways.
I have been graying since I was 22. So
But I think I've caught up, so it's fine.
anyway, hello, welcome our darling audience to what we shall call the sixth episode of Love Language Podcast. I'm so excited.
And I just want to tell our audience that I know like the previous episode was a bit heavy, so I hope you've realized what we're doing now is, heavier episodes, but also some more lighter conversations. And we're hoping that today is a nice, light, friend vibe conversation.
There are two types of listeners. One is the one that is doing laundry, folding clothes, and like wanting to listen to two friends talking and like, find their zone in that. And then there are the others, which you were also saying, who are looking for a balanced intellectual conversation where like we are discussing topics of day to day, but something that don't have to go back and read more about because we do the reading for them. So in a way, right now we are trying to balance both and trying to find an audience that enjoys both, actually.
No, I think so. What happens is that when you have like a larger sort of box of all of our episodes, then people can pick and choose where they want to start off. Right now, we just have few, and I know our listeners are very like every week they listen to it. Sometimes it's something like you said. Sometimes it's the serious one that they actually want to listen. Sometimes it's the more less serious one, more fun one that they're like, okay, we'll listen to it at some other time when we.
Good point.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
True.
So I think we hope we are on the right track. Anyway, I was looking at TikTok the other day, and there was this video where the mom was basically like, so like bridesmaids and all give their speeches and everything, but there was this one wedding video where the mother had given the daughter advice before her wedding. And
Okay.
of course, everyone's thinking like, so the video is made by the friend, and the friend is thinking like, we're all thinking that the mother is going to talk about like, oh, be happy, don't put yourself first, the usual things that parents would say.
Yeah.
She had one advice though, and that advice was don't lose your girlfriends in the process of making this marriage work. That was literally her only advice, the mother's advice.
I got a little, like my heart did a little flutter when you said that.
And that whole comment section, it was all about like once you're married, and of course I guess you'll know more, like once you're married, why that statement resonates even more strongly, because there were people who were like, the unmarried ones comments were coming, and then the married ones comments were coming, and it was very interesting to read that. And the friend was like, and now when I'm getting married, I'm taking this my best friend's mom's advice to my heart and like getting married. So it was like she was having that conversation.
It's so funny. I haven't watched this trend, okay? So send me the video when
Yeah.
after this. But I was talking to my friend the other day, just a month ago, like 2, 3 weeks ago. And I literally said the exact same thing to her. I was telling her my own realizations as a newly married person. I'll tell you what. What happens is that once you get married, this is from my personal opinion, okay? Your perception as an individual in the society begins to change. And that is the truth, okay? So much so that, and I'm talking about like a South Asian household, right? So much so that your perception, even your the perception your parents have towards you also begins to change. There is a shift. It's very subtle. They will say, oh, you are our daughter, and they will love you and everything, but in a way you are in a no man's land because their house is also not yours, and the house that you're getting married to is also not yours, or even if a third house that you are creating, like with your husband, like the way I have moved out, even that house is not fully mine, right? Because he was living here and then whatever. It's just everything is new, your identity is shifting, but what remains is your friends, right? And they are the only people, and I'm telling you from my personal experience, you and like my friends basically are the only people who are desperately hoping that I do not change my identity, who constantly remind and tap into that identity that you have grown into despite everything else. Your parents begin to treat you a little differently.
But you know what, Anatha? Like, I think it even starts from a step before marriage. And I'll tell you why. Because I think it becomes like whatever you're saying, it becomes magnified once you're in a marriage and you're taking these decisions together with your spouse. But the stepping stone of all of that starts even before marriage. Sometimes I feel like people they look at like relationships as being able to fill the gap that friendships, if you let go of a friendship, that the relationship can fill that gap of a friendship, of women to women friendship sometimes. And I feel like that's where the question can start from, and then it becomes a little magnified when you're obviously you're married and everything, and you're like, this is the unit. But I think there's so much value to look at different units in your life, because otherwise it's also unfair to put all your emotional needs on one person, like whether it's a relationship, whether it's a marriage. Like, you cannot expect one person to satisfy all your emotional needs. Like, it's insane.
So often, Jesso, I have seen so many relationships in front of me. They have sort of equated their identity with that of their partner. And not even their partner, how they relate to that partner. They end up becoming someone's husband, they end up becoming someone's wife, and or someone's girlfriend. And it just, you know, I just I'm not saying it's wrong or right. There are a lot of people who have been wanting to get married since a very long time, right? So this was like their dream. I want to get married. I'm not finding someone. I want to get married and all. So what happens is that when you find that partner, you like get so lost and get so consumed in sort of making that work that sometimes your priorities shift. And the problem is, it's not a problem, but the irony is that in our society, if today I choose to prioritize Sahil over everyone else, it is validated.
Yeah,
It
of course.
is
Not just validated, it's expected, I think.
expected, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's not my priority. I was telling this to just last weekend I had a girls' night out where it was just us girls, and we did a sleepover. We had a blast. So we were just talking about this, and I was like, it's not that I do not want to. Uh, he's not my priority. The fact that he's living with me, the fact that we share a home, we share finances, we're going to share babies, we share parents, he is automatically a priority. But with friends, you do not have that. You do not have those obligations. Then how to make them a priority? That is the art.
There was a small creator on TikTok. I love how I'm quoting TikTok so much. I love it. It's
Yeah.
like, on our fun conversations, it's always TikTok quoting. She's like a small creator. I took a screenshot because I wanted to read this out to you during this session. She says, friendship isn't a backup plan for romantic love. We've been ridiculously conditioned to treat female friendships like a bypass to the real story. But these relationships are the story. They're not what you settle for when love doesn't show up. They are what carries you when everything falls apart and congratulates you when everything is going great.
Oh my God.
And that hit me so hard. Her name is HRH Shan on
Please send
TikTok.
it.
And
Why did you never send it to me?
no, I wanted to tell you during this session, and like it hit me, and I was like, it's crazy because when we're starting to do our research, quote unquote research for the fun episode, like all of these things suddenly start coming on my algorithm on TikTok. I read that and I was like, I don't think we recognize how much you and I think we've been having this conversation. So let's go back 10 years ago. I remember before we graduated school, I remember having this conversation that, we're going to graduate, and, we were both graduating with boyfriends. Like, we were one of those people in schools who both had boyfriends, and we knew that we were going to Delhi.
Yeah.
And we told ourselves, one, we cannot let a man come in between us. But second, we also always need to prioritize ourselves. Right. And I remember having this conversation even before we had our boyfriends. I remember, this is such a important memory. And I don't know if you remember. What's the movie's name? Kabhi Kabhi Aditi Wala?
जाने तू या जाने ना.
Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na. So I think that came out in grade 8 or grade 9. Like I think 2008, 2009 that came out. And there's this line where Amir Khan, he says, Aditi,
आमिर
boyfriend,
खान नहीं,
what,
इमरान खान.
whatever, Imran Khan, Imran Khan. Imran Khan says, what does he say? He says, Aditi, boyfriend mil gaya to. No, the Aditi girl tells Imran Khan, girlfriend
हाँ,
mil gaya, दोस्तों को भूल गया or something like that.
हाँ, बॉयफ्रेंड मिल गया तो दोस्तों को भूल जाएगा.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's when we started having this conversation that what is our life going to look like outside of school? Like having boyfriends in boarding school was obviously very different. You're still stuck with your friends. But once you are outside this bubble and once we are in Delhi, we have our colleges, we have new friends, we have boyfriends, are we still going to be in each other's life? And I think we obviously we had a lot of challenges even through despite having these conversations, right? So what I'm saying is even when you recognize that friendships are so important, sometimes like I don't know, like the structures in society are such that sometimes it just like you forget to prioritize it in the way you should be and thinking that you know what, no, my love life is what I need to prioritize, I need to get a partner, I need to settle down. But when everything falls, like I have only my friends and my family, and more so my friends, because my parents don't understand the dynamic I'm having, the challenges I'm having. You will understand it because you're closer to me in age and you know everything. So it's really difficult, man, like even if you have the conversations.
I'm just feeling very grateful to you. Grateful to you.
Don't cry. Don't
Always laugh at this, but no, you don't know. Like, I mean, this quote is so powerful. Just please send it to me because I was just reflecting from the time like school and you know, I never lived up to the promises that we made, right? And
No,
I
I don't think it's that. I think we had our
so I
circumstances.
did get absorbed in a very toxic relationship. I did. I will, and whatever, no regrets. But it was a very, very different phase of my life where nothing was important. Just making that relationship work and getting consumed in that. And I let go of so many opportunities. Like, sometimes I look at like, these college kids and, in college just having fun, going for classes, going to parties and all. I gave up so much. It's not that I didn't go, but I gave up that freedom so much. And in that, I lost so many friendships. I lost you. And,
Yeah.
and
But it won't be like I don't
how did
think
you
you
deal with it?
say,
What I want to know that where was the shift? Like, what was the telling point? Like, at what point you were like, I need to maintain my distance from her.
it it got really tough for me because one, so there were two phases. One was the phase where you and I were obviously like we were so close, and we are so much more closer now, but at that point we were so close that so there were a lot of, so you had a lot of challenges in your life, and I know a lot of people had started maintaining that distance to be like, bro, like it's not our place, we've told her once, now is not our place. But for me I was like, this person is like my, like is like attached to me, to my hip. If there's something going wrong in her life, it's affecting me as much. I need to like take her, like I need to like force her out of this situation. And I remember my ex telling me like, you're gonna like fuck up your relationship with Anahita if you keep getting at this so much. Like you're screaming at her all the time, you're telling her off all the time, you're telling her she's doing this, she's doing that, you're telling her that you both need to prioritize each other, like there's a drift. And I was like, I don't care. I need to get her out of this, even if it means that she and I, our relationship dies in the middle because of this. I need to get her out. I would rather save her than our relationship. I was at that phase. But obviously, like, and then the challenging bit was then, of course, I did all of that, and then you took a step back. And then in my relationship, I was taking a step back from my partner. Like a lot of things were going on in when I was graduating in 2018. So I was having this issue with you. Then my partner and I were breaking up. I didn't get a job in Delhi. I couldn't take the bar exam anymore in India. So a lot of my plans had to change, and I had to just go back to Nepal.
Yeah.
So when that happened, when you have a friendship loss and a boyfriend loss, all of whom have been part of your life for like 12 years, like 10 to 12 years, I was just like, I think my life has like fallen apart. Like I couldn't make sense of anything.
Yeah, I know.
And and even then, I needed friends at that moment. I didn't need another boyfriend to fix the situation. I needed my other friends to fix the situation. And that's the value of it.
You're so right. No, you are. Like, I mean, but Jesselina, I'll tell you something. That relationship was like the worst thing that could have happened to me, right? I mean, in another episode, I really want to talk about like being in a narcissistic, abusive relationship because I feel people need to know the signs from someone who has gone through it to identify the red flags.
Mm. Mm.
And I had friends, I had you, I had genuinely, there were some friends who just held on, you being one of them, my mom. And I got out of it. And but one lesson that has gotten embedded, matlab, like it's so deep into my conscience, so deep seated, is that is what you basically told me uh, ever since we were friends. That Anahita, he may be McDreamy, but you are your son.
Yeah.
Genuinely, Jesso, that came back to me in such a hard way. And since then, I am in a beautiful relationship, but I still ensure, and actually, I'm lucky enough to have partner who also ensures that all the time I am the son,
Yeah.
and he is the son. And we both are, coexisting, but not revolving around each other.
Exactly. And I think, and it's not just for marriages. I think for me, so, when my first breakup happened, and recently I went through a second breakup. So these are my two, like, I've had two breakups in my 20s, one in my early 20s, one in my late 20s. And it's not that people have been asking me, like, which one was harder? The first one was like a 10-year long relationship. This was only 3 years, but like, was that like, I don't think it was any of that that made the process harder or more easy. I think it's having your own life outside of that relationship and knowing that even if something falls, I have such a large life that
Yeah.
my stability doesn't go away. When I went back in 2018, when I had my big
Yeah, tell me
breakup,
about that. Tell me,
yeah,
like, you not having stability and how you coped, and uh, like, I really want to know because I wasn't even there, at
yeah,
that time. So I've
yeah.
never talked to you about that.
So, my first relationship I got in when I was 13, grade 9. He was in grade
Yeah.
10, he was 14. And we dated through school, through college, and till 2018. I was turning 23 in 2018. So, almost 10 years, 9.5 years. So, it was basically I had grown up with this person. I knew this person as much as I knew you. You and I started became friends
Same year,
same
huh?
year, almost the
Yeah.
same year, literally, right?
Yeah.
So, when I lost a friendship and a relationship in the same year, and I went back to a country that I had come out of for another 11, 12 years. So I was going back to a country without a friend, without a boyfriend, without my main two support systems. I was going back to Nepal fresh.
Community also, a larger like community you were day to day in touch with also, right?
Exactly, right? Like, it was obviously a great opportunity to be like, okay, I maybe this is the best way to look at it, like in terms of, okay, a new start, a fresh beginning. But when you don't have the roots at 22 that you've had for the past 10 years, it was earth shattering. I didn't know who I was. My self esteem took such a big dip. I didn't have a job. I was done with law school. I didn't have a job out of law school. I didn't have my best friend with me. I didn't have my long term boyfriend with me. I didn't know how to make sense of myself and my life. And I think that's where my self esteem started going so low
It took
because
you
I was.
so long to get that back, no?
Exactly. It took me so long to get that back. So I think that's
Vis-a-vis
why
this time, vis-a-vis this time.
this time when I broke up with my ex, of course it was a much healthier, more adult breakup. There was nothing, no shouting, screaming. It was very like, you know what, this isn't working, this isn't working, we break up. But I had you, I had an entire life in New York. I
Yeah.
have every memory and every friend, and my recent ex was only a small part of this large life. He wasn't the entire life. And I
Yeah.
think that's the entire difference. That I had my friend who was able to support me through the most tumultuous of times, and I
Yeah.
had a life that I can rely on to tell myself and to and to feel that, there is so much more to life than just this breakup. And I think that's what got me through this breakup, and that's why I crashed in my first breakup, because I didn't have a life beyond him.
So that is the whole. This is what I mean, it's so hard for people to understand it. I genuinely am saying, like, 90% of the people don't understand this. Somehow, you and I have experienced things, I think, early on in our lives, and we have come to realizations in our lives. You have to prioritize your life, your community, your interests, your hobbies, what makes you happy, and that has to be away and outside of your romantic relationship. It's so important to do that, and people don't do it. It's like they have an existing hobby also. Like, let's say, oh, I love to paint. Oh, from tomorrow, I have a boyfriend. Now me and my boyfriend do painting classes. I'm not saying don't introduce them to your interest, but continue doing what you're doing. And you know what happened with me, with Sahil? I think it was such a blessing now that I look back on that. Sahil and I were always in a long distance relationship. Obviously,
Mm.
it stretched a little too much, but we were always like, okay, we are living different lives, we have different friends, we have different communities, and we would always like meet once a month or whatever and come back, and our lives would collide in the most beautiful way. Our friends would get along, everything, right? But then we would always have something to go back to, our individual lives. And we practiced it for so many years, like, 4 5 years. And then when we decided to finally get married, we couldn't let go of that habit,
Mm.
of having something beyond the marriage. Like,
Mm.
it makes us restless. It makes Sahil restless. It makes me restless if we both are the only thing that we are doing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just with the both of us. So I am really like, somehow it worked out for me. So now I get a little disturbed when I see that, my friends somehow lose priority. So I am that person who constantly reminds my friends that, listen, your friendships are very important. Don't lose your friendships in the way. Don't fight. Don't get into petty matters just because your partners don't get along or things like that. Keep hold on to your friendship. You'll
But
need.
that's the thing. It's like, but it's not like you and I are like holier than thou. Like, we've made these mistakes, and I think it cost our relationship.
Exactly. So I do not come from a point where, oh, I was born with this. I did it. I got burnt. And now I tell people, please do not lose your identity, because once you get married, Najee, so it's so easy to lose your identity. It's so easy to lose it. It's so easy to become someone, and you do it willingly only, but it's mostly like subconsciously you're doing it, where you don't even know that you've changed.
But there's this. But do you think it's also because, like, so of course back home versus here. So I think one of the things that I was also thinking about is, back home it's a more collective society, right? Here it's a very individualistic society where it's mostly you and your partner doing everything, doing day to day life, doing everything together.
Yeah.
Back home you still have, like, you and your partner can have different friend circles. You and your partner can have, what do you call, family members who are separate. You have your own, like, little bubbles, and especially if you're both from the same city, you have your own lives and you're coming together, so there is still this level of balance you can create. But I think it's really difficult here. The codependency becomes really high in the US, man. Like, you and your partners
West
in the
generally.
west, in the western culture, and it's really difficult because you don't have any other structure. Like, you and your partner are the only structure that can make this relationship work. And I was talking to a friend that day, and I was like, it's really hard here to make a relationship work, and it's okay because back home, even if you and your partner have a fight, you can, they can let off steam with their parents, go meet their friends, go to a house that is theirs, quote unquote. You can go to your house, quote unquote, like, be friends with
It's a
your.
little bit more collectivist society,
It's a
where people are
exactly.
okay to interfere in each other's affairs.
But I'll tell you what, it's that. But I also respect people who've understood that it's okay to have that very different, different sort of lives with your partners. Like, I am friends. Sometimes you're friends with a couple separately. Also, like, I'm friends with the guy, I'm friends with the girl separately. And a friend of mine that day, I was making dinner plans with her, and I really respected her what she said. She called me up and she was like, I was making dinner plans with her, so I assumed both of them would come. which was again, I maybe I shouldn't have assumed that. And she was like, "Should I get him along?" I was like, "Oh, why did you ask me?" She's like, "No, I think it's respectful to ask people if I should get my partner along, or if it's a you and me dinner meet that we're having. Like sometimes we just need to spend time together as well." So I was like, I thought about that and I was like, wow, no one's ever done this, but I think that's a very respectful thing to do, to be like, not assume, first of all, your partner is invited. And the fact that you don't have to invite your partner to every gathering that your friend is having. Like, I think that's a good balance to start off with.
That happens with me a lot, you know. Like I think about it a lot, like, and I think me and Sahil collectively also think about it. So like I want to ask you actually what you think
Mm,
about it. Like because you know what happened with me and Sahil, we both gelled very well with each other's circles. Like, I'm
yeah.
very good friends with Sahil's friends. And it
Yeah.
wasn't because I was Sahil's wife or whatever. Like, I genuinely had an individual relationship with Sahil's best friend, Sahil's best friend's wife, generally
Mm,
also. And Sahil also, I mean, the friend circle that I have in Delhi, Brats, basically my friend circle there, they they were we were like friends for 1 2 years, and then Sahil came into my
mm,
life, right? So we were also having a fresh friendship only, and Sahil came, so
mm,
it became like a common group where
mm.
Sahil is also added to the group, and he also has individual friendships with all of them. But sometimes I wonder if like when you told me, like when you were talking a bit about this friend asking, even though I'm mindful of it, even though I'm very particular about having my independent relationship with my friends, specifically my girlfriends, do you sometimes feel that like honestly tell me, do you sometimes feel not able to, like, I don't balance, or do you sometimes feel that, like, what are your thoughts, or how have I navigated this in your opinion?
I think I think so. One, obviously, you've moved to a new city. So I think that's a very, so I think the dynamic is very different right now. Like, you needed time to adjust, you needed time to understand the city, with Sahil already there. So you were sort of dependent on him to understand the city and all. And I think it's already changed from like 6 months ago to where you are right now. But I think we have like, sometimes we have a conversation when Sahil is there, sometimes Sahil is at work, so then we're able to have a conversation. So I still think you and I have our time, but I think it's nice to have Sahil as part of the conversation, but we've never neglected that time of just you and me. But that could also come from our own circumstances, of you going through a major change 6 months ago, me going through a major change 5 months ago, and us really needing each other. Maybe that has just created a balance.
But I still sometimes feel that I need to just talk to you. I genuinely feel
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and I do not. I'm not saying that I don't want to come across as preachy, man. But I'm genuinely saying, like, I sometimes just want to pick up the phone and talk to you, and not have anyone else interfering in that. Like, and that is my sacred time with you. Or even
But is it easier because we're not part of a larger circle while Sahil is part of. So I know your boyfriends in the past have all been like somehow connected to circles, except that one boyfriend, your other sort of, flings and boyfriends have been all part of larger circles. I am the opposite. I am very mindful of and you've seen it, the duality of friendships. Like, I love my boyfriend, all my ex-boyfriend's friends. Like, I get along with them so well. I still have all of them, like all of them on my Instagram and everything, still connected. But I was always mindful. I was like, your friends are your friends, my friends are my friends. Yes, we can like obviously hang. I will hang with your friends. I expect you to hang with my friends and have a good relationship. But I want our friends to be separate. Like, I don't want one big circle. I don't know why. I'm of that view.
yeah, no, so obviously, if it happened in like a lot of like my friends right now who are dating, and have their partners have a completely different circle,
Mm,
and them have like we being the different circle and them hanging out with us, it is there.
mm,
But with Sahil, it was a very unique situation because I was also forming that circle at the time when I started dating Sahil. You understand? Just one,
mm,
2 years I was friends with them. And then Sahil came in, and it just was. We talk about it like when I sit with my friends in Delhi and we talk about it. Sahil just was very easy to get along. So he
Mm.
seamlessly integrated where everyone just loved him. And
Mm.
he loved everyone back. So it was an instant connection ki, oh, I have become friends. It's like you becoming very good friends with one of my friends. It's like that. So that happened. So I never had to face this challenge. So my challenge was actually a very different kind. Mine was, ki, okay, fine, now I have my boyfriend being in my friend circle. How do I carve out my alone time with the
Mm.
friends who I want to carve out?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
then I used to make focused plans where it's just me and Tanya hanging out, or just me and Vrish hanging out, or just me and Janak hanging out. Like one-on-one plans where I am genuinely spending time with my friends and
Yeah.
reminding ourselves. Because you know what? I do that even with you because I need to remind myself that my friendship is beyond my love life.
Hmm.
I
No,
need
I think
to
it's so
reinforce.
important. Yeah, because I think what also starts happening is that then so I think another important part of having friends, whether in marriage or relationship, is to be objective with you about what's
Exactly.
going on.
Exactly.
It's about being objective with you. From I am your friend, I need to be objective with what's going on in your life and your relationship to Sahil, right? And Sahil has his friends who can be objective to him. But if you, me and Sahil hang out all the time and I am as close to Sahil as I am to you, my I will not be objective anymore. I will be extremely subjective in the situation. Now I don't know if it'll like help let go of the bias or not, but in my head, like my relationship is to you, my sincerity is to you. Of course, you and Sahil come as a package deal now, but at any point, if you need me to be objective of what's going wrong, what's going right, in the larger scheme of your marriage and the larger scheme of your other relationships, it's like I need you to be an individual person so I can be an individual person when I'm telling you what's going on.
So many times I have had problems where, and ek to na, I don't know what happens. You know me, okay? If it, I'm not saying that, oh, I will take, like, I take my husband for granted, I take my partner for granted, do whatever, say whatever you want to say about him. I'm not saying that. Of course, you have to maintain the dignity and respect of your partner. But a lot of times, because that's what I have thoda sa PTSD about this, right?
Mm.
A lot of times I need that objectivity from people who know me and who I know are there in my corner. They can love Sahil, they can have individual friendships with them. But when it comes to me and him, so what happens is I don't take offense. If tomorrow you come and you say, Anata, I noticed this was not right.
Mm.
How can he speak to you like that? Or why did he say that? This was problematic, or
Mm.
something like that. I will respect your value because your point, because in my head my husband and partner is not the end all and be all, and how can you you know
And it's not you are not a unit that you need to take offense for yourself. Like this is not your fault. Of like sometimes when I'm talking to very long term partners or husbands, I think obviously I have to like create a certain boundary because I'm like the partner, my friend who is bitching about the not bitching, like making fun of the husband, saying ye kar raha hai, wo kar raha hai, like saying all of this. But if I put a step in, it'll be like, bro, like calm down, like
yeah.
that's not your place. I'm like, then why are you telling me?
No, but then the problem is then from where do you draw your
Objectivity.
objectivity? Then do you forget now? If
Yeah.
tomorrow my friends are not calling me up and I'm not giving them an honest download of my problem, and they
Yeah.
are not intervening and having like a sort of an intervention, which at every point you need in a long-term relationship, your parents, your friends coming in, your parents will not. If I tomorrow tell my mom I'm having certain problems with Sahil, she'll be, क्या हो गया?
Mm.
It becomes a whole thing that, oh, are they gonna like break up, and it becomes larger. It's your friend who you go to and go like, bro, I'm really struggling with this.
Yeah.
What should I do?
Yeah, and
And
I think it's also the flip. Like I was telling someone the other day, like I have made a ground rule for my relationships after my first relationship experience. I've made this ground rule that if there's something going wrong and I feel something is wrong, and if I can't tell my friend about this situation, I'm steering towards the wrong path.
so true, bang on. That's
Like if I can't share this with my friend and I need to hide this conversation and turn it into something else in my head when I'm telling them, I have steered the wrong path within
That,
this relationship.
see, obviously there are some things that you do not want to share because it's just between you and your partner. Every relationship has that, okay?
Not secrets about what's
Yeah.
happening to me as a result of the
You
relationship.
don't have to tell everything that's going on between you and your partner, the decisions that you're making, or there's some things that, it's not affecting you, it's just a decision you are taking. Okay,
Yeah,
we are deciding to buy a house, we don't want to discuss it with
yeah,
everyone, whatever. That's what you know. What does your friend have to do with it? You don't have to
yeah,
tell them.
exactly.
But if tomorrow you are noticing that, there is a pattern where my husband, is smashing glasses every time we have a fight or something like that, and I'm avoiding that, telling, those
Yeah,
signs, then obviously I'm not protecting a secret. I
yeah.
am making room for, for something larger. And
So is it like, are you protecting the person or are you protecting the secret? If
yeah,
you're protecting the person from something, then maybe then you need to question.
you're right. And the problem is, what changes for me? And I just hope that doesn't happen. And I hope you don't feel like that with me. But I never want to feel like that with you. And it really gets on my, like, it really breaks my heart when I have to do that with my friends. I try really hard not to do that. It's like if I'm genuinely trying to explain to a friend that, listen, I really feel this is wrong. I'm not saying that your partner is a villain or something, but just watch out for this. And they absolutely close up. You know?
It can happen because I feel like, and you know this, like, because you're and my first boyfriends, we hated. Both of us did not like each other's boyfriends. It was so tough. It was so tough, the entire
I think
situation.
publicly, yaar.
Who cares, man? Who the hell cares?
I did not like your boyfriend. I just never got along with him.
Whatever. Tomatoes, tomatoes. But I'm just like, I
You
think
though
with that,
hated my boyfriend, yeah. You though
I
matlab today
hated him.
also,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you get
yeah.
a license to kill someone, you will kill
No,
me.
I will never kill anyone. Are you insane? Um, I'm a woman of the law, please.
Oh yeah.
But no, but I think after that, when we got into new relationships, we're like, we want that validation from our friends so much that sometimes that does happen. Like in this previous relationship, you loved him, but like in this previous relationship that I had, you loved him, and sometimes I had to be like, bro, can you be a little objective? Like it's going insane now. So there's that side also. I was like, listen, I know you really like him, but like it's like, tell me objectively what I need to hear.
Well, when push came to shove, then obviously then I mean I knew it was very easy for me to like choose my loyalties. It would
Yeah, of
always,
course. It's about choosing loyalty. Yeah.
you know, it's even, what is it with friendships? And this is how I think I am. That let's say that there is a couple, okay, and tomorrow, she's my best friend and she's dating someone, or she's my really close friend, she's dating someone, and she is the wrong one in the relationship. In the sense, she is cheating or she is mistreating and all. Still, my loyalty will be with my friend.
Like I'll
That
be like, what are you doing? I will convince her. Like, what are you doing? Like, get a
I
hold of
have
it.
friends like that. We both have friends like that who get really fucked up, who do really fucked up things in their relationship. But obviously, it will be, I love her and I will call her out and be like, bro, you're being really fucked up. But I'm not going to go and like rat her out.
I think the conclusion is in this situation, and like it's like one stone hitting two birds. It's about having a secure attachment of friendship. One,
Yeah.
when you have that secure attachment, no matter what is happening with your partner, you know your friend can come tell you, and you need to be able to take it and not be like, why are you trying to go against this relationship?
And that also is like foundationally, you have to be very clear with your friends. If you always are like in competition, there's a slight jealousy, there is like one-upmanship, little bit also, like Oprah Winfrey says, then obviously, then that's not the correct friendship to have these, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And I think once you have a secure attachment with your friend, like women to women, I can't speak of men and their friendship. Women to women, when we have that secure attachment, Anayata, your and my relationship with my other girlfriends has set such a high bar for men in my life, for relationships that I have in my life. I was like, if the women in my life can do it, why can't you? What nonsense.
Oh my, oh my God. You know, Sahil still, like, I think Sahil's biggest competition in life is not another man, it's you.
No, I'm not in competition with him.
I'm just saying, you know what it means,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, I
Because,
know what you mean.
like, so many times I'm like out of order, and he's just like, I think you just need to talk to Jesselina. Like, she will be able to fix it, you know? And
Remember that one time we were all in Nainital and you had a fight with Sahil and you like stormed off? What happened was that we were all going to Nainital together and Anahita wanted to ride in the car that we were in, but we were like, bro, just go to that other car. So she was skipped to the other car. So till Nainital, 7 hours from Delhi, we drove without Anahita in our car. She was in the other car. So when we reached Nainital, when we went to our rooms, she banged the door shut. And she was like, no one talk to me. You guys don't love me. And she banged the door shut. So Sahil came up. Sahil went to console her. And Sahil was like, I can't talk to her. She's not listening to me. I can't talk to her. So who has to do the consoling and the communicating? Jesselina Rana. So I go and I fix the entire situation like I always do.
but
But
you
that
but you've said that to me, right? That the way I like listen to you, I don't listen to anyone
and
else.
that's because we've made
Master
our
love
communication
language.
style. Like, yeah, it's our love language, communication and like communicating styles. Like we've understood how much you need to push, how much you need to pull during arguments. Like we know it. And it's come after like 15
12
years
years,
12,
15.
15 years of like of back and forth of not understanding the other person's language, understanding each other's language. So I think that's what I meant. Like once you have that secure attachment within friendships, I think now Sahil needs to learn what are like, how to argue with you, how to, like, I'm sure he knows now how to like convince you about certain things, because this is like it is what it is. It's a learning process of how you deal with other people.
Other people. No, and also I think with me the thing is that I love my friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I love my friends. Like, if they are my friends, and I'm not talking about like my best friend. They don't have to be my best friends, but like my friends, like my OG friends who I've invited to my house. That
Mm.
is my thing. Yeah, I invite them to my house. They are like, they are so important to me. And it is like, it's as important as my marriage is. And I will always balance it.
And I think that's when you realize that who are your friends and how much you're investing in friendship isn't just about like how many times you meet. It's about like how you communicate. And I think that's the secure attachment that for me, like right now I have friends all the way back in Nepal. We send each other memes and we know what's going on in each other's lives, and it's just like we know our communication style, we know we're there for each other. But it, like, I don't know how to say this as a single person right now. It is so important to have these friendships with me while I go through life, because boyfriends come and go, but like friendships are what stick around for
But
life.
so even in a marriage, my friendships are so important to me. It kept me afloat. I'm not saying that Sahil was not a great husband, but I needed something beyond this overarching, overimposing
Yeah.
identity as a married woman. I needed my friends. And I forgot my thought, but it was an important thought. I don't know.
Okay, we can come back to it, but I just feel like, and I feel like all of this also comes back. Like I was just like googling, right? Like where does this whole idea about like us needing to be a unit, right? Like for example, if tomorrow you move to like you were saying, like if you move to LA for your husband, no one bats an eye. Tomorrow you pick up and say, okay, now I'm missing Jesselina too much. 1 year I'm gonna go to New York and work. Everyone's gonna be like, have you lost it? And I'll be like, no, that's very normal. It's okay.
Why cannot we move for our friends?
I don't know.
Life is, it is it is like, I mean, it's a no-brainer that if you have your best friends, it's a walkable city. You have your best friends, you have nice bars, you have things to do. You, half of the breakups will not happen. Half of the divorces will not happen. I was discussing it with my friends, Rishita and Gul. They were over last weekend and they were talking about how for 1 year, Gul had to move to Canada and Rishita was there. And they both are like bestest friends, right? And Gul said that it averted so many disastrous decisions that I could have taken in my relationship just because we had each other to like be like, listen, bro, I'm going through a really hard time with my partner. I'm gonna like, can we talk? And you go for a drink, you go for blow off steam, come back to your partner with a calmer uh, thing, you know? So sometimes your relationship gets saved because of your friendships, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. No, it's insane. Like we have so many milestones for relationships that we put. Like for straight people, the entire life for history has been on the milestones that you create with your partner. When in all of that, when things plateau in a relationship, friendship is what keeps it alive.
Yeah.
Like it is what keeps it alive.
It is also somewhat like siblings, na? Like how they say that your sibling is someone who's known you. Like your parents will at one point, like I mean, it is the harsh truth, but they won't live as long as you do, right? And they will leave you. Your partner comes at a least later stage, but a friendship holds the highest potential if you nurture it properly to be with you from the start till the end of your life.
There's a Sex in the City quote where Charlotte's like, maybe we are each other's soulmates, and men are just people who come and go and are part of our lives and yeah, make our lives better. But soulmates are platonic friendships, not romantic friendships, and it is what it is.
That's true. No, I value my friendship a lot. I give it the importance that any relationship or any partnership or romantic relationship
And
needs.
and that's why friendship breakups are also hard when you give it that much, focus.
Talk about it. I was devastated. I broke up, you know who I broke up with for like, it was the worst phase of my life. I've had a breakup with a relationship. I broke up with my first relationship. I'm not exaggerating. You were there. You were there
Yeah,
when I was
yeah,
for 6 months. I had anxiety attacks. I would not eat properly. I would not sleep properly. I would cry. I would go through like our pictures, our previous conversations, played over and over again in my head that what went wrong, how can I reach out? Like it hurt the same way. And it
yeah,
was very important for me to then understand that you know friendships also like you said that the breakups of friendship hurt you just as much if not
yeah,
more.
yeah. No, I think that that's the problem of how we define what intimacy is. And I was really thinking about this. When we say the word intimacy, what do people think? People think sexual intimacy, sex. But our generation has been able to redefine this maybe too much in such a way that intimacy isn't sex. Intimacy is getting to know a person. And when anything breaks up, friendship, relationship, the lack of the intimacy causes such a void. And that's why friendship breakups can hurt as much as relationship breakups, because intimacy is not sexual intimacy that you're pining over.
And intimacy is not so available also now with like these dating apps and sex apps etc. You can find like someone to fuck with, like it's very easily available like to have sex because now with the way the society has progressed, even women have an autonomy over their bodies now. So for us to go find someone and like sleep with, it's very easy now. It's like slowly, at least in modern societies, your virtue is not attached to like your virginity. But when it comes to like having real conversations, we shy away, and it's not so easily accessible. Very few people who you would like gift that gift of intimacy.
But there's this meme, right? Like first base is sex, second base is adding each other on Instagram, and third base is talking about childhood traumas.
Yeah, yeah, true, true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Who would you talk to about your child? Not too many. And your friends know that, yeah, your childhood friends. Today, you know everything about my house. How my brother is, what my issues with my mom is, what my dad says, things like that. Where do you find that kind of like holistic and then you people just give it up because, oh, I've gotten married? You can't do that. you know?
I think, like, so when I was like researching a little bit for our conversation today, and it's not just society has evolved in some way where we've just like heterosexual relationships and marriages have become like the pinnacle of the relationship pyramid, right? I think it also comes from like Greek mythology to like, our scriptures, all of that, where it's like, I remember us studying in school, like Zeus, Greek god dude,
I don't know. Huh.
Zeus or whatever you pronounce it. Basically, he was like humans used to be one form, like, man, woman,
Yes, yes.
like you used to be one form with two heads, two limbs, two four limbs, two faces, everything. And he was like, this is going to be like, this is going to cause the end of the world, so I'm going to break this person into half, and you're going to be condemned to find your soulmate. And that's what life is like, you're condemned to find the other half of your,
Search for your other half.
right? But I'm like, but maybe my other half, maybe someone's other half is their partner, maybe it's not. But it is important to treat friendships. I think what both of my breakups, both of all of my friendships have taught me is to treat it as important as a relationship. You put as much effort. If you
But to this only, this was my point that I forgot about, and I'll end it with this, like my thing, that you know what the thing is, that the society facilitates you making your partner, your romantic partner a priority. So even if you're not trying, no, even if I today don't try, even if I don't give any importance, just by the whole way in which the setup is of a married woman, married man, he will always be my priority. Very fundamentally, Sahil will be my priority. That gives it more the reasons for you to make an extra effort. Today, if I am making that extra conscious effort to prioritize you, it's not because Sahil is less important. This is what girls need to understand. By the virtue of someone being your husband or your partner, they are in the eyes of the society your priority. The structures are made in such a way that they will always be a priority. So you have to go out of the way to make, to create other priorities and put that effort, you know. So it's fine if you are going and doing 101 for your girlfriend and maybe 99 for your partner in some occasions, because that relationship maybe needs 101 to sustain and still be, you know, of that level that it always was.
Yeah, I think I also just want to end by saying that Anayata and I have, and I don't think it was just a you situation. I think, of course, I also needed to understand at that point what communication was important for us. But I think we've learned through the hard way. And I don't think people really know how much time we lost in those very fundamental
Or
years.
I
Like
just wish we didn't.
we lost such important moments, milestones, right? In like formative, like early 20s years, and we had to come back from that touch wood. We've come back, like we've bounced so much higher and so much harder, but it crushes me to know that over like disagreements about men, we had to, and not disagreement like, oh, you don't like my partner, but fundamentally us being like, we need to have different lives, like this is not what we're worth, really caused that rift in between us. So I think for me also at that time, like I don't think it was a you problem. I think I also needed to realize it doesn't matter how badly you retaliate or how you're not willing to take my advice. I needed to just keep my foot down and be like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally. You look at the end goal. I think I should have done that. And I think maybe now, that I hope it never happens, but if it ever happens, I think the priority is for me to be like, this is the person who needs to exist in my life. I don't care how we're going to figure it out, but that's how we need to figure it out. Because that's how you do it even
And
in
don't give
relationships.
up on your friendships just because you feel, oh, you know, even if it goes, it goes, it's fine. What, like, you know, I still have my partner.
Yeah.
You cannot let go of your friendships, man. Like, I mean, you can't. I can't.
Anyway,
I love you. That's all I
this
want to say.
I love you too. This was supposed to be a light episode, and I've like choked up 3 times.
Yeah, me too.
Ah, okay. But thanks everyone, and speak to all of you in 2 weeks.
Bye bye.
Bye.